This episode of After the Whistle contains profanity. Listener discretion advised. Please enjoy.
Not ready. I don't care. You're so ready. It's 10 o'clock. You're supposed to be ready.
That was a funny look. That was a funny look. I'm not ready.
Well, JR, so listen to this. Like I just said to Riv, like I'm watching the NHL network here, and I just said to him, and I'm having a really hard time these days watching hockey. I'm having a really hard time watching hockey. I just don't find it. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't find it as enjoyable as it once was.
Finding it hard for a lot of other reasons, but
well, let's hear them.
Well, I think number one, just to see all the bullshit that's going on, new COVID restrictions, the way that they're coddling up and just being such a toe puller for all the bullshit that's going on and the lies that are happening in this fucking world.
Did you see?
Just toeing the line. You know, the fact that all these games are getting postponed. But make sure you get your vaccination. Make sure everybody's vaccinated. Make sure, get everybody vaccinated and be protected. Cancel, postpone.
What did you think about what
by the way, let me just tell you,
said?
I'm vaccinated. Okay, had to go see my daughter. That's fine. I have no problem, with it. My problem is the mandatory. You have to do it, and if you don't, you're a domestic terrorist. You have to. No, we don't have to do. There's one thing that's for sure in this world is death and taxes in America. Death and taxes, not mandates. And mandates are killing our real heroes, who are the first responders, because they're losing their jobs. Killing small businesses because they can't open up restaurants or run their restaurants the way they want to because they have to test for these mandates.
Yeah.
It's driving me crazy. So to answer your question, Petey, number one, I got thrown out of the NHL and just shuffled away because of a very minor or stupid incident and wokeness from a certain entity. So all of a sudden now, nope, NHL, nope. What have you done for me lately? Oh, listen, we know how that whole system works, and watching it now is, I think the players are great. I think the things that happen in games are exciting. The fighting's gone, which I always enjoyed. We see cheap hits, like the Conley hit the other day. I mean, that's just a gutless hit. It's gutless.
Yeah.
We see things happening in the game that I don't like, but I just watch the way that these kids, the NHL's they're taking away these guys' lives again right now over what? An Omicron variant that gives you the cold? I mean, we don't even know anything about it. It just drives me.
It's incredible. No, you know what? And I don't want to go political and talk about this type of stuff, but I feel bad for everybody, whether what you believe, okay. And there's in this country, in the world, and the information that we are getting is so lopsided, one way or the other. We don't
doesn't make any
know.
sense.
We just don't know.
Sense.
Well, if you actually have critical thinking, on any of this stuff. You know, listen, I mean, nobody on this planet is going to tell me that there is no virus or variant. Okay. It certainly has done damage. Okay. But right now, you know, almost
So is the
2
flu.
years,
So does
almost,
the flu.
yes, but not to the same, maybe not to the same level, I think, JR.
Well, that depends on whether you believe the true accuracy of the data.
Exactly. I mean, and that's the worst part about this whole thing is we are getting information. All of us are getting information. Anybody who takes the time, which is very important, who takes the time to look into this, you just don't know where to turn for proper information, because
but they turn, they say, oh, we're following the data. We're just following the science. We're following the data.
Yeah.
And they don't have any. So what data are you following? I don't get it. And the problem, so now the NHL hockey players, as of this week, cannot eat in a restaurant. They cannot drink in a bar. They cannot be within 12 feet of another person outside their family or their team. Like, are you shitting me?
Yeah, they have to wear masks. They have to wear masks indoors. Is mandated. I'm just. I mean, I sit there. I was telling Krista, you know, my wife. I came back from Boston with my youngest son. Tournament last weekend. I went to a restaurant, and you know, we walked in, and you have to have a mask on walking in, which is just, it's, I mean, I, you know, when you actually think about it, the logic of all this, it is mind boggling. We're walking in with a mask. We walk 10 feet to the table, and then you take your mask off. Okay. But I watched two people come in. I watched a man that was probably in his 60s, same thing with his wife. And they sat down. It felt like, you know, just a couple feet from me. And I am looking at their masks that they have on their face, especially the older man. It literally looked like he has worked every single day for 2 years in a machine shop. This thing was so dirty. And it was it's supposed to be a different shade of blue. It was a darker shade because you could actually see the dirt on it. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, this older man is breathing in disgusting, you know, stuff in that mask. And then 2 seconds later, he's taking it off and he's less than 5 feet from me. And I'm just like, where's the logic in all this? I don't.
And how about the kids? How about the kids in school breathing in the same stuff in? I mean, it's, I was walking out of dinner here in California the other day, and I wasn't wearing a mask, and I walked out of the restaurant. There was a gentleman that was standing up to leave. He put his blue mask on. He put this big face shield on with his mask, and he had rubber gloves on. Now, if you don't tell me that the government isn't scaring the fucking shit out of people because of this thing, it's just nuts.
Yeah.
Now I understand
there's a lot of scared people, and I mean, do I look at that, like, or do you look at that man and blame that man? I feel sorry for that person.
I feel bad for him. I feel bad for him. Listen, like, don't yell at me if I don't wear a mask. I'm not going to yell at you for wearing one. And listen, he wants to take care of himself, but the fact that you have to think that way and live that way because the government and the people that like Fauci, who are unelected bureaucrats, and by the way, Fauci gets a piece of every shot that's put into somebody, so you know he's pushing the shit out of it. The fact, like, we can't do Christmas, put off Christmas. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, the things that these people are saying, they're saying all over the news it was going to be a blizzard of a blizzard, and not only was it on one station, it was on 30. How does 30 different stations say it's going to be a winter blizzard of COVID? It's a talking point that, you know, somebody in government is telling all these media outlets to say the narrative, say the talking point, get it across to people, scare the shit out of them, get the vaccine so Fauci can put 2 cents into his pocket every time it happens. such a money grab and power grab. It's just disgusting.
I might sound ignorant here, but I don't watch the news anymore. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of COVID. I'm relatively healthy. I'm vaccinated. I'm not afraid of Omicron, which sounds like a Transformer name, by the way.
Omicron. Omicron. I told you, I think last week, Omicron. If you mix up the numbers, the letters, I mean, you know what it spells? Moronic. It's a moronic. It's if you misjumble the words, you spell moronic, and it is a moronic thought that we have to worry about this thing.
This is the only thing I'll say about vaccinations. Hold on one sec, Riv. The only thing I'll say about vaccinations, I'm vaccinated. Okay, completely against my will, because I want to go to Canada. I want to see my family. I want to take my son over to see my parents.
That's why I did it. I had to go to see my daughter.
I you know what I'm gonna say? Like, as soon as I got vaccinated, the second that it was finished and they took the needle out of my arm, I felt completely violated.
Dirty.
I felt violated. I felt like I got in my car and I sat there and I'm like, why do I need this? Like, I don't know. Why do I need this? I mean, I was 40 years old, healthy. You know, I just felt violated. It's the only word I can use to describe it. I'm vaccinated, got both my shots. I mean, I'm probably going to get a booster if I need it because I'm a puppet, or sheep, or whatever you want to call it. But I sit there and I just think to myself, felt completely violent. I don't get a flu shot every year. I don't get the flu shot. You know, I don't.
Are people going to get the flu shot this year? The flu was completely gone last year. Like none, zero.
I know health officials and like nurses and healthcare workers all had to get flu shots as well. So they had to get the booster, they had to get the vaccine, both shots. They had to get the booster and they had to get the flu shots. So either that or you get fired.
Well, episode 26 here, we're talking about the COVID scenarios with Jeremy Roenick, and I don't know.
And what it's doing to professional
sports,
leagues, right?
Yes, that was what started this, Petey, with the fact that we were talking how just watching the game is not the same anymore, and I totally agree with you. But just watching these games get postponed, and then the bullshit that's getting thrown at these kids, like play the games. I'm watching football now. You guys have football, right? You have what, 3 games got delayed from Sunday to Monday or Sunday to Tuesday. Like, what's that going to fix?
Yeah.
What's 2 days going to fix when you're in the middle of a pandemic? Virus.
I guess it's not going to do anything, because the virus is not going away. The question that I have is the players that are testing positive. From what I understand of the people that are in it, a large majority of the players are asymptomatic. So they have no symptoms whatsoever. There are some players that do have some symptoms. They're all vaccinated. Okay. So my question is, why are you testing? Why are you testing these players?
Hey, Riv,
if you are not sick,
yeah, I gotta ask you a question. Did you guys ever feel bad the day of a game, or did you ever have the flu and play?
Many times.
Many times.
I have some legendary over my 16-year career times that I was deathly ill, vomiting the day in the morning on the road, and having the flu, fever, the whole shoot match.
Yep.
And and the team would go to the rink in the morning and they would do the practice, and I stayed at the hotel and I just tried to get down some electrolytes. And I ended up playing that night. And I played multiple games like that, and you just kind of play through it. And I understand there's going to be people that are just be like, these guys are the biggest bunch of donkeys sitting there talking about the COVID virus. And, these guys were sick. And I understand that there is a virus. I understand that there's COVID, but these players, there's one player in the National Hockey League that's not vaccinated. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
They are being tested regularly. There's players that are now becoming positive, and they're having to sit out
Yeah. Yeah.
because of these positive tests. Meanwhile, they have no symptoms. And people are like, I listened to Steve Yzerman, and he was like, I think that we need to think about what we're doing here. We're testing players that have absolutely no symptoms and they're asymptomatic and all this. And I read the comments of people that were writing in, and they were roasting Steve Yzerman. And a lot of them were, yes, they're asymptomatic, but they're going to take it home to their family and their kids and their grandparents, and they're going to kill people. And this is what's happening. And I think to myself, are these people that stupid? Do you not think when you go to a grocery store,
no, they are.
Do you not think that you go to a restaurant or the mall or any place that people are not being tested? And they probably have. There's probably how many people, if you were to go to a mall right now, how many people in that mall do you think would test positive for COVID?
I was at a mall the other day. It was packed.
Yeah.
You'd have a lot.
Well, it's funny you just said that, because obviously the one person being Bertuzzi with Detroit that's not vaccinated. And this goes back to Petey, how we're talking about the game today, right? So back in the day when we would yell at somebody and bark at them and be like, your mom's a dog, your mom's a donkey, right? Whatever. Now it's like, go get vaccinated. You hear that kid talk?
Yeah, Mason Gertson from.
Gertson.
I said that.
Gertson. Hey, Mason Gertson, you fucking nerd. Think of something else better than going, get vaccinated.
No.
What an idiot. Like, come on, is that the best you can, like,
So,
this is where our game is today, right?
So JR, I sent
Oh, you know what's next, JR? I kicked your ass
so
on
dumb.
Fortnite.
Yeah, exactly. It's so lame. It's so lame. Like, Gertson, go get a dictionary, find some like words to actually go and make somebody feel bad, right?
Yeah.
Go
so how about this
vaccination.
one? How about this one, JR? This is critical thinking here. I read this. Mike Harrington tweeted this out yesterday.
Oh yeah, get this.
And it says a mind-boggling press release out of the OHL. So the I think it was Owen Sound. Was
Owen
it not?
Sound Attack, yeah.
So the Owen Sound Attack put out a press release that their building will only have 50% capacity, which, okay, I understand it. Moving on. They said, so they're going to have, like all the buildings now, okay, in Canada, because Canada has the most vaccination rates, and they don't let anybody in their country, but they still have COVID more than anybody. But anyway.
Yeah, everything's working there.
So
everything's working. Way to go.
Yeah, they're doing a great job.
Way to go, Trudeau, you donkey.
So listen to this one. So Owen Sound Attack put out a press release, 50% capacity. So there's only going to be 1,500 people allowed in that building watching games. And if you are one of the 1,500 fans to watch that game, you are strictly prohibited to have any food or beverage at that game, and standing.
Wait for it.
Listen to this one. Standing at any kind is strictly prohibited cheering for a goal.
Stop it.
I'll say it again.
Stop it.
You're not allowed to eat or drink at the game. And the best one is standing of any kind is strictly prohibited, including cheering for a goal.
Do you know that is, I mean,
that's what makes this whole thing an absolute mockery. This is why people are so confused.
What kind of imbecilic asshole, jerk off, idiot, like uninformed person makes this rule? Who thinks to create this rule, to write this rule.
I wonder if
Tell
they're
these
allowed to
people-
stand for the national anthem.
That's
That
good.
person who made that rule should never leave his room ever. He should stay in that room as long as it takes for him to go meet the horned devil. Because what he is doing is scaring the living shit out of people without having any kind of positive, real data on anything. That is so.
I'll tell you
irresponsible. It's so
And
irresponsible.
you know, listen, I mean,
I can't even be with myself. You dumb fuck. Period.
Hey,
yeah.
I'll tell you the only thing that
But again, JR, again, I will say this. You say this and I can feel and hear your anger and I feel the same way, but I do feel bad because people are listening and wanting information. Okay. They want to be informed, I think. And the information that's out there is so fear related that these people are just listening and following, and they're not critical thinking. There's no critical thinking in any of this. There's so many loopholes and things that
he went off there for a minute. Hang on.
and things that you would ask questions about in this whole thing. All we are doing is trying to work together and try and find our way, you know, and keep ourselves healthy moving forward. I think that's the most important thing. But some of these things that are happening, the mandates, I think you have to at least ask questions, you know, and if you get answers that make sense, then so be it. But, you know, the most important thing is to keep everybody healthy, and try and find solutions in all this. But we all have to understand that these variants, you know, it was COVID-19 and then it's the Delta and now it's Omicron.
There's going to be 100 more. They're
not going away. So, you know.
Well, no, it's not that they're not going away. They're not going to let it stop. You don't think that these scientists and the government have this thing planned for months after months? I saw a list of
when did the Delta variant come out, JR?
Delta came out last August.
It came out in August.
September.
And when's that?
Yeah.
Right before school.
Yeah. Listen, it's
Omicron came out when in November?
Yeah, right before Thanksgiving.
Right before the holidays.
Hey, I saw a list, and I saw a list on one of my social medias of all the variants that they had planned and set up for different times and different years. Okay.
Yep.
They have 15 variants already planned, and they have the kind of the area of time that it's going to come out. So there's going to be another variant because they already have it planned of when they are going to announce it. Like, how do you know if you have Omicron or you have Delta? Like, I mean, I don't know. How do they test for that? Does it test different on a quick test? Does it say you have Omicron or you have Delta? Like, I don't understand how you know the difference. But you know what bothers me? Because we're talking about these games being canceled and being postponed. What the experts say is that if you have the vaccination, you are not going to get as sick and you're not going to die. Okay? Everybody except for one in the National Hockey League are vaccinated. So if you're not going to die and you don't get as bad as symptoms, why not play the game? Like we said before, we played sick. We played with the flu. We played probably a lot sicker than a lot of these guys that got tested positive are feeling right now. What is the benefit if everybody is vaccinated like the National Hockey League wanted? Why don't they play? They're together all the time anyway, right? They're from their house to the arena.
And that's what Steve Yzerman was saying, and he was getting absolutely, like Riv said, he was getting roasted for it. And I'll tell you this, like, I think the one thing that is most disappointing for me that I've witnessed in the last year and a half is that COVID has divided this country, and well, not just this country, the world, because people have difference of opinion. And I thought a difference of opinion is what makes the world go round, is what allows for conversation. But in this particular instance, people are it's either black or white, you know what I mean? And it's like, if you feel one way, you're ostracized. Like, people are going to hear this conversation, and they're going to write to us, and they're going to say, you guys are idiots, you're uninformed,
Yeah.
you're uneducated, you're just dumb hockey players, shut up and just talk about hockey. And well, I don't understand. Like, after we shut off after the whistle, I mean, we're just normal citizens like anybody else. We're just normal human beings. I mean, I don't know why I'm not entitled to my opinion, and you're not yours, and Craig yours, and Steve Yzerman his, and that's the one thing I think.
That's because the media. That's because the media carries the verbiage from the government. Okay. Now, I don't care whether you're a Republican, Democrat, liberal, independent. I don't care. But when you have a certain party that every time they get questioned about something and get opposed of something, the only thing that they say, you're racist. Oh, you're racist. Instead of having a conversation.
And someone slaps a title. They slap a title on you. They're so quick to just slap a title on you.
Yeah, because you know what? Because so many people are afraid of that term that it ends the conversation. So the Democrats, however you want to judge them on their level of their liberalness to their moderateness, it's you're racist. You're racist. And the media pushes you're racist. And they hope that they scare the piss out of people, that they stop the conversation, or they scare enough people to make them vote a certain way because their policies suck, as you see what's happening in this world today. Now, in this new, and again, I'm getting political and I'm sorry, but I have to do it. Joe Manchin just saved our country by denying this Build Back Better. Did you know this Build Back Better bill had a clause in it for billions and billions of dollars, okay? Billions of dollars that every single person that works in the media, whether it's print media or whether it's television media, was going to get a $12,000 raise. Why in a Build Back Better bill are you giving every media person a raise in this bill? It's for them to spew and to carry their fucking agenda. And that pisses me off. And these are the people that are yelling and screaming, the media, scaring the shit out of people that we're going to have a death crazed winter.
So listen to this one, JR. Let me add to that.
You're right. It is separated. We are more divided than ever, and it's because of the media. It's terrible.
I have like an article that was sent from the White House that this just came out
They
the
sent
other
it directly to you?
Yes, they did.
Wow, you're on the inside, eh?
And in the article, it basically stated, it says, we are intent on not letting Omicron disrupt work, schools for the vaccinated. You've done the right thing, and we will get through this. For the unvaccinated, you are looking at a winter of severe illness and death to yourselves, your family, and the hospitals you soon will overwhelm.
If that's not irresponsible,
that's coming from the White House.
It's such an irresponsible quote. It is so irresponsible of the leaders of the free world to instill fear like that without having any logical data on something we're going through. Now, so let me get this straight. If you're vaccinated, you can still get the virus and you can still transmit the virus. You can still pass it on. If you're unvaccinated, you can get it and still pass it on. The only difference is you're not going to die and you're going to get less symptoms. Okay? So if I decide I don't want to get vaccinated, I'm taking my chance of getting really sick or dying. That's my choice. Mine, me. If I want to take my death into my own hands, then let me do it. I'm not hurting you. I'm not hurting Petey.
Well, you are, because we'd miss you on After the Whistle. Yes,
oh,
you.
Well, that's true. That's true. But you guys know, like, that is my choice. Let us have that choice. That's
They
what
say,
I don't get about
okay,
this
so
whole
let me
thing.
rebuttal that, JR. The unvaccinated, apparently right now, in the media, are overwhelming hospitals, which is taking beds away from the vaccinated people that are sick.
80% of the people with Omicron right now are double vaccinated. And the reason why and it's a narrative, okay?
Is that just to be clear? Is that an accurate statistic?
Yes,
Okay.
it is an accurate statistic.
Is anything accurate in today?
But what they're telling you, it's a narrative, okay? What they're not telling you is how many nurses and how many beds are actually in that ER. Okay.
Frontline workers were a year ago given a choice. You can either get vaccinated or you can get fired. And there was
the heroes of 2020.
And aren't they the ones that were sitting in the hospitals and they were taking pictures of their faces with rashes on them because they were wearing masks and they were garbed up from head to toe for like 4 days straight? Some of them weren't sleeping.
They literally put their life on the line because we didn't know about this thing. But now they're domestic terrorists. But you're right, and you're right, Riv. But they don't give you the whole story. They tell you something and they tell you the worst part of something without telling you what leads up to that data, right? So yes, our hospitals maybe are the ERs overwhelmed? Possibly. That's what they're telling us. Now, if the media is telling us that, I don't believe a fucking word of it. But if there's 10 beds in an ER and there's 9 nurses, right? And you have 4 people come in and you need 2 nurses per COVID case. Okay? 2. Not 1. You need 2 nurses per COVID case. So if you have a lack of workers and a lack of beds, and you might have 7 or 10 people come in, you're overwhelming the ER. That's their definition of overwhelming the ER. Now we're going to stop our whole world and change everybody's lives and how we. I was just looking around, and I can't even believe that everybody today has to wear a mask with so much beautiful fresh air. Like, we are bound to wearing masks in this beautiful world and denying ourselves fresh air because of a very few percentile points of people that have underlying conditions or are of the elderly,
compromised immunities. Yep. Whatever happened to the CDC? The CDC is the Bible. It came out and said, you know, if you are not compromised, and listen, I mean, this virus hits the older generation. That's the way it is. If you're over 60, then you have it's a much more serious virus.
Yep.
Compromised immunities, you have to take this extremely serious. But when they're saying that you have a 99% chance of not dying if you're a healthy person, then
even more than 99%. And the problem is, they don't understand what we're losing. We are losing a generation. We're losing a generation to protect the generation that is about to leave us. Okay? We're losing our 10-year-olds, our 9-year-olds, our 11-year-olds, our 12-year-olds, our 14-year-olds, kids that are not having the proper school system, not having the ability to breathe in fresh air, to learn, because when you learn and have have facial face masks on, it's tough to learn in school. You're having kids who are having mental health problems now, that are getting demoralized mentally because of the situation. We are losing our youngest generation, which we have to rely on in a couple. It's over this.
Depression
it's
and
nuts.
depression and
Suicide.
anxiety, suicide for the younger generation right now is through the roof.
And
You know,
that's what they're
I have
doing.
my daughter who we are picking up actually today. My wife's on the way. And my daughter goes to Western University in Ontario. So she's vaccinated, and she's, their schools in Ontario right now are shutting down.
Mhm.
Shutting down.
Yeah.
They told every one of these kids, you will not be coming to school unless
Yeah.
you are fully vaccinated. Okay. And we made that choice, and my daughter made that choice. And now she, after doing all the stuff that she had to do, she's being told that she can't go to school. Very difficult on these young people.
Yeah. Well, listen, let's leave this conversation at this. What's happening in this world is a crime. It is the biggest crime of human existence. We're never going to get the right answers. We're never going to get the real truth. But I would just hope that people would look, read, open their eyes, and be informed of what's going on and what's really happening, so that they can make better decisions for their own life. And
it's very hard right now, JR, because I'm going to tell you, you say the words of go and be informed. You have to read. You have to find information. The problem is, wherever you turn, there's always something different. There's always a different opinion. There's always a different agenda. You do not know right now if you're getting good, proper information, whether you are an anti-vaxxer or whether you 1000% believe in the science. They're so conflicting in everything that's going on right now.
But there's got to be everybody. You got to hope that common sense hasn't left our world either. Okay, every single person has. I would hope. I mean, I'll question a few people. I would hope has common sense.
Oh,
and if
gosh,
you read,
no.
if
Are
you
you
read
kidding
from
me?
both sides, if you read from both sides, right? If you get all the information, you can determine yourself, which I do, which you can see why I'm so passionate about it. But yeah.
No, common sense, and not even it doesn't take COVID out of it. Take COVID away. This is not even a COVID comment. The common sense is lacking globally.
Yeah, but common sense on the leader level, like on the government level, is gone. I would have to think that the average
money,
everyday American,
power, control, they have it
middle
right
America,
now. It's taken 2 years to just build a tremendous amount of fear around this. And I'm not ever going to say that COVID-19 is not a thing. It is. It was dangerous.
Sure, it's a thing.
It swept through not only North America but the world, and has done a lot of damage. But it's been almost 2 years, and we're moving in a direction that we talk about the Delta variant, which I haven't heard anything about the Delta variant in months, because that was 5 months ago. And Omicron is now supposed to be like 500% more contagious. But when you listen and you really research Omicron, they say that it's very mild. The symptoms that you're getting are very mild. It's not nearly.
You know what else is an issue, Riv? You know what else is an issue? And a big issue is opioids. Okay, we just lost a big member of the hockey world in Jimmy Hayes because of opioids. Okay, opioids. Over 100,000 people have passed because of opioids this year. Okay, But the government's not going to shut down and build the wall and stop the immigration and let all these people flow through like it's a waterfall into our country. They won't go down and stop the problem where the opioids come from. And they're worried about the kids and this virus. It just doesn't make any sense. They say they worry about this, but they have something else that has been just as big of a problem, if not bigger, for the longest time, and they do nothing about it. They just let it go. It boggles my mind. It truly boggles my mind. It's just.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up the opioids. It's very interesting you bring that up because to me that was a bigger issue, in my opinion. I
100%.
had a friend of mine 7 years ago had a 21-year-old son die from opioid abuse. Well, not even abuse, just.
But you ask yourself,
like-
when you talk about opioids, you have to look deeper into it. You ask yourself, why are they starting in the first place? Some people are starting to take opioids because they have pain, okay? Physical pain. They're dealing with injuries, they're dealing with something, and opioids just, they grab you and they don't let you go. And your life is an uphill battle. I'm going to tell you this right now. And it's interesting that you just mentioned that, JR. I had a friend from back home that just basically overdosed from opioids. This is a guy that I grew up with in North Bay, and
It's unbelievable.
Sorry to hear that, man. I didn't know that.
It's awful, man. It's awful, man. I'm sorry, man. I know. And by the way, see what you're feeling right now. Millions and millions of people feel every single day, and these people are worried about getting vaccinated from a virus that makes you have the flu, and things that are actually killing people in opioid addiction. It is real, and the fact that they are not stopping the main root of the access of these opioids, and it's just unbelievable to me. And I'm watching a show called Dope Sick. Have you guys seen Dope Sick yet?
No.
So Dope Sick is where the opioid started, how it started, and how it got going. It's truly an amazing movie. It's called Dope Sick. You guys got to watch it. It's pretty unbelievable. It's pretty unbelievable.
It's a tough transition out of this conversation, I'll tell you that. But I mean,
anything crazy hockey going on right now? I know you said you're bored of watching it, but
Olympics are shut down for NHLers.
Great
and the
call, by the way, by
down.
you guys. Great call by you guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, when you have stipulations that, if you test positive in China, Beijing, correct? Beijing, China, and you could be there for 21 days, upwards of 5 weeks. Like these men have families, they have responsibilities back home, and they're sacrificing even going over to the Olympics for a couple of weeks to begin with, leaving their kids, and it's tough because I love the Olympics. I love the Olympics. I love watching the highest level of hockey with the greatest players to don the skates in one tournament, in one mega tournament. But that being said, it does not make sense for these NHL players.
They made the right decision.
I think so. Yep.
Let me ask you something, JR. You played in both World Cup and Olympics. What would you prefer?
I'm an Olympic guy. I watched the 1980 Olympics, watched the U.S. beat the Russians, and it made me want to become an Olympian, made me want to become a pro. The Olympics to me are the
Pinnacle of hockey.
The cream of the crop. Now, if you gave me a would I rather win a gold medal or a Stanley Cup? I would want to win a Stanley Cup. It's I just know how difficult it is to win that too. You know, you get a chance every 4 years to win a gold, right? We had a chance every year to win a Stanley Cup, and I didn't get one. So I know how hard it is. And then I see guys like Pat Maroon, who I'm so envious of, and I think is awesome, who has 1/3 of this, 1/8 of the stats that I had, and he's got 3 in a row. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing how it works, right? You got to be at the right place at the right time. Everything has to fall into place. Everything has to be, you know, aligned with the moon. And it's amazing. It's amazing how hard it is to win championships.
Yeah, it is.
You know, so, but what do you guys think of Conley's hit the other day? Like, what are we thinking? What are we thinking in this situation?
Well, did you see Pavelski's press conference after?
Yeah, of course.
He was pretty emotional because of what happened to him a few years ago, right? A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
What did I think of it? I've watched it plenty of times, and by that I say 5 or 6 times. I mean, I don't know if that's enough to really have a say on it. I mean, the outcome is terrible. I'm just confused. Did it look like he was blatantly going to try and hit him, or did it look like, I know the puck was coming around the boards, and is it Kiro? Is that how you say his name? Kiro? Tanner Kiro. I know he was definitely not ready, and he was in a vulnerable position. And did it look like a collision? Did it look like he was kind of cut off? Like, did it look like Connolly was cut off, maybe trying to go and get the puck, or did it look like he was trying to lay him out? Because if he's trying to lay him out, that looks like a play from the 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been a clean hit. Oh, the puck was near him, you know, he laid him out. But I just don't know. Is Connolly that type of player?
No, but he made his decision. He made his decision what he was going to do before the puck even got let off the defenseman's stick. Okay, because in his mind, as we see the game, you know, move, that defenseman was going to make the pass to the winger, and it may be a chip out, right? So Conley, right in his own mind, early made the decision that I'm going to hit Kiro. Now, Kiro is still looking back, and he's vulnerable. And when that defenseman let that puck go, Conley already had made up his mind that defenseman was passing it to Conley. And he just finished his check rather than take a real look at the puck, what was happening, and react to the play instead of making a predetermined decision. And it ended up costing him. That's how I see it.
I'm still trying to find it, be honest with you guys. I didn't see it.
Seen it yet?
No, I'm going to look it up.
Who was it that I can't remember the exact who you broke your jaw on a play through the middle, didn't you? Was it Jeff Cordnell?
I didn't break my jaw. I got knocked out cold on two separate ones. One when I was really young in 1989 or maybe 90 in Minnesota. I was coming across the middle, and I learned at a very young age, don't go in the same direction that the puck is coming. Keep continuing through the middle ice. Jimmy Johnson came with a flying elbow right through the middle and just caught me perfect. As one of those where you just, you know, deteriorate to the ice. And 15 minutes later, I woke up in the dressing room on the training table. I had no idea. 15 minutes. I had no idea how I got there. I remember nothing within those 15, 20 minutes. I remember it's erased from my lifetime. And they told me that they stood me up and I skated, you know, with help to the bench, and that I walked to the locker room. And I'm like, don't remember. I don't even remember doing that. And then Jeff Courtnall got me in St. Louis, came across the middle, turned back, shot far corner, went top cheese on Curtis Joseph. Beautiful goal. Right as I was turning, shot, boom. I mean, shoulder to the chin, knockout. And I spent the night in the hospital in St. Louis that night from that hit. And it was a good hit. I mean, at the time, back then, it was a great hit. I'm opened up. I take the shot. I had the puck. You know, Jeff Courtnall hit me. And Jimmy Johnson's was cheap. Jeff Courtnall.
You didn't have an issue with Courtnall's, eh? Wow, good for you for owning that, because I mean that's a tough look. I just looked at that earlier.
Yeah, no, I didn't. No, that was a great hit. I did that to Kelly Kissio. I did that to Kelly Kissio in the old Cal Palace in San Jose. Literally, he was coming across the middle, turned, and I hit him, and he almost did a full flip in the air and landed back in his stomach. And I remember his going off the ice. He had like Droopy the dog eyes, and Stu Grimson looked at him and said, "Hey Kelly, your teammates should let you know when the Zamboni's on the ice next time."
And that's when you know what, guys, it's funny. Guys were joking about being knocked out back then because no one knew the severity of it, right? No one knew what the long-term potential effects.
How many concussions did you have, JR?
You make a joke like that now to a teammate, JR? Oh my God.
Yeah, no.
Kid in hockey knocked a kid out, did the sleepy look. He got suspended for he did the old one of those, and he got suspended for 3 games. I mean, it's crazy.
I had 13 documented major concussions.
What?
In the league. 13. Yep.
Documented?
Yeah,
which means you had like 40.
I got knocked out 5 times in the league, like knocked out. My broken jaw with Hatcher, that was a separate. That was not a knockout. I had my broken jaw with the puck slam me in the face and knock me out cold. That was not a knockout. That was a puck knockout. That was a broken jaw knockout. I had 5 hits that knocked me out. Then I had Hatcher, and I had my broken jaw with the puck. That's just 7. And, you know, then I've had my bell rung. Darcy Tucker hit me in the 2004 playoffs. And I duck walked it back to the bench, missed half a period.
Oh, that's a lot, man.
Yeah.
I think I have 4 documented. But I ain't going to tell you. I mean, now what a concussion is, which was not a concussion back when we were playing. I mean, if you saw stars,
yep,
that would be a concussion.
I saw stars every game, guys. Every game.
I remember. I remember. Here's the thing.
That's because you were looking in the mirror before the game.
But I can people don't realize that I saw stars giving hits. And I never thought about, I went back to the bench, my arms were fuzzy, my head was fuzzy. You don't really say anything because you don't want to leave the game.
Yep.
And I mean, thinking back to the amount of concussions that I probably would have had, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, and
do you know where I got the most stars? When I'd be forechecking, and all I had in my mind was running that defenseman through the fucking boards. So I'm coming in, I'm flying. I go to hit the defenseman moves, and I slam, bam, right into the glass. Don't hit anything but the glass, and all of a sudden just whoo, and I have to steady myself for a couple seconds. Then the stars go away. I keep playing.
What's interesting? And this is, well, it's not funny at all. It really isn't funny, but it was kind of funny. My wife and I, when I ended up getting knocked out in a fight with Brant Myers. from the Philadelphia Flyers.
That'll happen.
He damn near punched my head off my shoulders, and
He was a tough kid. He was a tough kid.
yeah, and I went into the box, and then I got kicked out of the game, so I had to skate across the ice, and I remember my body was like literally vibrating, like I had been electrocuted, and sticking my hand, in a socket or whatever. And I remember them saying to me, they had asked one of the players that wasn't playing that night. They said, "Hey, go, and you need to literally follow, Rivs around, get him in the shower, get him all cleaned up, get him in a suit, and then we're going to take him to the hospital," sort of thing, right? And apparently, I was in the shower. And this guy off the team, which is, it's totally common, right? Guy standing there in a suit watching me shower. But apparently I had asked him upwards of 20 times in less than 5 minutes what the score was. What's the score? Oh, we're winning 3-2, Ribs. Everything's good. All good. Oh, okay, great.
What's the score?
Hey, what's the score? Are we winning? Oh, yeah, we're winning 3-2, Rivs. Yeah, everything's great. Okay, awesome. And it just kept on going over and over and over. But my story I was going to say is after that concussion in particular, which I think I had a few others before that, I was joking with my wife for a few years. It actually happened for a few years that up in the corner of my left eye was a monkey. There was like a monkey that...
Sorry to laugh. I've had concussions too. I can laugh, okay? We've all had it, but I'm laughing. Go ahead with the monkey.
Okay. But I would be in conversation with my wife at the time, and all of a sudden I would just whip my head around because that monkey was sitting in the corner, up in the corner. I would look, and then the monkey wasn't there. And this went on.
I can't help but laugh at a monkey.
And the funny thing is, even to this day, if I'm sitting there and I'm having a conversation, and all of a sudden I kind of like turn my head for a second, and she'll be like, "Was it the monkey?" And I'm like, "Really?" But yeah, I mean, and obviously it was not a monkey, but it looked like a monkey.
There was no monkey there.
Well, there was something there, but I don't know. It's like, and it happened so many times. And it's just,
wow, terrorized by the monkey.
Yeah, terrorized by that damn monkey.
JR Rivs isn't much of a movie buff, but you know what I think about when he says there was a monkey there? I think about the movie Billy Madison and the Penguin.
Yeah, it's something like that. And I laugh about it now. Now I haven't seen the monkey in a number of years, which is a great thing.
Good.
But
Great thing,
I laugh at it, but I think to myself, back at that time, there was also there had to be something going on with my brain to react.
And that's a good point, because what it is your brain. So what needs to happen in our society and in our health, in our doctors and the scientists and everything, it should no longer be termed a concussion, because concussion has been that word for 40, 50 years, right? Concussion for the longest period didn't mean anything. So when you say concussion, people are like, "Oh, that's okay, just sleep it off, whatever. It should be called a brain injury. They should call all these brain
trauma,
brain injuries. Don't call them concussions, because if you say we have a brain trauma, all of a sudden someone's like, "Whoa, hey, I gotta take care of this. We have a problem with the brain, the most important part of your body." So,
can I ask you an uncomfortable question? Something we've chatted on shows for years now. Mm-hmm. And we've never had this discussion. Where are you at with, I guess, the thoughts on CTE, and do you think you're living with it? Are you afraid of it? I mean, what's and you don't have to answer that either, because I know like you'll answer anything, but I mean, it's a rather personal one. But we had Ryan Leaf on, and I asked him the same question because we talked concussions, and he was
scared to death of it, man. scared to death of it. And that movie with Will Smith
Concussion,
was one of the scariest movies I've ever watched. And it was scary because it's real life, right? And things that we don't know. And unfortunately with CTE, you don't know if you have it until you're dead. I mean, you can have symptoms and you can have things that happen to you. Like obviously we've seen some of the suicides in football and some of the dramatic things that are happening in with some of these retired alumni, but it's scary. You know, I try not to think about it because I can't change it now. I do go and get treatments on my brain. I get cold laser, you know, the blue ray laser, to try to keep healthy. I definitely do stuff to help myself because I could at 65, you know, just, you know, go lights out mentally. I don't know. It's a real thing and it's scary. You know, you see Keith Primo is donating his brain after he dies. I'm going to donate my brain, you know, when I'm gone, because the more that you can, I mean, someone who has 13 concussions, who has lived pretty normally, I think they need to read that. So it's a scary thing. I definitely think about it a lot.
I got nothing else. Simply because I don't care to talk about anything else today. We've talked about a lot of important stuff, and you know what? I don't think we're going to lose any fans, but I think we're definitely going to,
we definitely sparked a bunch of I think opportunities to start conversations. Now I love how much attention After the Whistle is getting so much attention. It's getting so many downloads, getting so many viewers, so many watchers. I would love to see the conversation start happening towards the three of us. You know, whether it's on the social or however it happens, because today we were pretty political, and you know, sorry for all you hockey fans, we got a little bit of hockey in there, but I think it's life. And sometimes you gotta talk about life and start conversations, because a lot of people are afraid of the conversation. And that's why we're so divided, is because we're afraid to have that conversation. And you know what? Respect people's opinions. Don't hate them.
Thank you.
Respect their opinions and listen to them. And maybe there's a common bond or a common.
There's no respect any. There's very little.
Listen, I mean, like you said, Petey.
Respect. What's that, Riv?
I said, like you said, there's going to be a lot of people that listen to this episode, and there's going to be a lot of people that want to throw hatred towards, you know, what we have talked about today. And for me, I hope whether you agree or disagree, I'm not looking for people to agree with what I have to say. I think it's just for us to collectively be able to discuss, and I respect opinions of others, whether they disagree with my opinions. I respect this. And I think that's the biggest thing is to be able to, you know, own your opinion, respect others, and hopefully we can just come to and find the best solution possible for everyone.
Common ground.
JR,
what you just said, Riv, is really important, because if people are too afraid to talk about it, okay, you can't. See, right now, we're not afraid to talk about it. We're not afraid to tell our opinions. And there could be 10, 100, maybe 1,000 people will listen to what we have to say because we had the balls to talk about it, that never thought of maybe something that we said, or it didn't even occur to them, or, let me look that up. Let me do some research on that. Or, wow, that's pretty interesting. You know, comment, pretty interesting insight. Maybe I'll look into that, or maybe he's right, or maybe it's just, what a freaking idiot. But that's okay. But the fact that we have the balls at least to talk about it. A lot of people will not talk about it because they're afraid of that backlash.
Yeah.
So
I think it's just about respect.
Good.
Whether you have an opinion on this, I think it's about respect. I'm not here to put anybody in danger. I'll tell you that right now. I want to discuss and think about it. I don't sit there and drive in my car and look across at a stoplight at a guy that's double masked in his car alone. I don't look at that guy and think that he's doing something wrong, because he's not doing something wrong. Okay. He is doing what's right for him. And I respect it. I don't understand it.
I know, but you don't feel even safe in your own car?
Well, I mean, Petey, it's about, let me tell you.
I see people driving around with masks on too.
You talk about being safe. You talk about being safe. But if he feels that is doing him right, then what are you to judge him? Let him do that. And I mean, I just think
it's the same the other way.
Yes, absolutely. Anyway, great episode, guys. I mean, this was good. This was good.
It was great.
I hope that we didn't piss off too many people.
Yeah, I always piss off people.
No, we know this, and that's why we love having you on. Episode what, Riv?
26.
There you go.
There we go, boys.
Greatest 26 ever to play in the NHL. Who is it?
Jocelyn Lemieux.
Jocelyn Lemieux.
Peter Stastny, baby.
All right, yeah, that might be the one.
That might be the guy.
That might be the one. All right, JR, thanks as always. That's a wrap on another episode of After the Whistle. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, After the Whistle, and at Craig Rivet 52, at the Instigator 76. And you can find us, as you already know, on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, and anywhere else where you can get your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to spread the word.